Okay, welcome back. It's now 7:30 on the dot. You're tuned into Salam Media, and we're doing the analysis of Africa at the 2020 Olympics and the performance of the Olympics of the teams. And earlier on, we just saw Simone Biles, obviously, suffering with mental health issues, and she's been diagnosed with something that's called twisties, a condition that's obviously where she suffered for her inability to orient herself during mid-air. Right now, I'm going to be speaking in a moment to an athletics manager and former Olympic athlete, as well as the 2014 African champion bronze medalist in the triple jump, Roger Haitengi, to the program. Roger, good evening. Welcome to Salam Media Friday Night Live with ST, and it's an honor to have you, and thanks for taking the time to join us tonight.
No, thank you for having me. Good evening to everybody out
Great
there.
stuff. Obviously, you've competed at the higher level, Olympics, and you've
Yes.
competed at the 2014, African championships, where you obviously won your first major medal, a bronze, your personal best in the event, obviously in the triple jump, in what you specialize in as an athlete, being 16.7 meters. That's your current national record, right? Now, having said
Yeah.
all of this, and in the intro to the segment, I was talking about Simone Biles, and we saw
Yes.
that she's going to cherish this Olympic experience, but she suffered from a psychological condition called twisties. Now, mental health playing an important part here for the American. She had to withdraw from obviously last week's competition and obviously suffering from the inability to orient herself. We are talking about Africa, right, and the performance of the African teams in this tournament. But on the topic about mental health, before we continue into analyzing the Ghanaians in terms of boxing, South Africa's Akane Simbane, and
Mhm.
obviously the handball from the Egyptians.
Yeah.
As an athlete yourself, mental health when it comes to this point and at this level of competing, how important and what goes through your mind? Can you maybe just briefly talk to us about when you were competing at that level, mental health and the importance of maintaining that psychological mindset, stability, the focus? What goes through an athlete? I mean, it's easy for people to spectate, comment, etc. Let's just focus on very briefly that part, and then we want to talk about Africa's performance as well.
I think it's a very good question you post out there from the mental perspective because you can prepare physically your body, it can be 100%, but the physique of your body and the condition that it is counts on the day at a competition only like 20%. It's 80% mental. Same also like
Mm,
for you getting to the track every day to train or whatever sporting coach you do or whatever you feature. There's a mental stimulation that happens in your body, of your mindset when you're going in, whether it's a hard session stuff. Because remember, it's easy to give up. And so, I mean, speaking about Simone Biles that you were saying now earlier on, I actually read about it and what happened. So she's in a space in your head where her mind is doing something else and it's not synchronized with the body, and
mm,
there is a problem. And when it comes to gymnastic terms, it becomes a dangerous um, routine for her, because if her mind is not in synchronized with her body, she can really get hurt. And I
yes,
actually read a couple of stuff of previous Soviet Union post years of the Eastern
athletes.
Bloc, when
Yes.
a gymnast wasn't synchronized, she was in the same state as Simone, and she actually broke her back. And I think
Wow.
she was doing a routine, and yeah, so it can be very dangerous because so obviously fatigue set in. She's been focused. Her mindset's been there. She went for, this was her third Olympics. Obviously
Yeah.
pressure, and sometimes you just need a break. You
Your
can follow
body
a
just needs
routine.
to tap off.
Yeah, you need to tap off. And with all athletes, very important after the season is done to sit, have a holiday, have a break, do something different. And that's why I always believe that having hobbies and having different stuff to what you do as a professional athlete away from the sport helps. Whether you're studying, whether you have golf as a hobby or walking around
Yeah.
stuff, it's very important. So you have a balanced lifestyle, because it's very
Pastime.
easier. Yes, because it's very easy to just be there. And sometimes when things don't work
It
out, when you
becomes
get an
too much.
injury and
It
stuff, it
overwhelms.
becomes too much. And then you feel like you don't want to do it anymore. You don't want to be
The
there.
reason
Your
I
body's
asked
not
it, obviously,
responding.
The reason I asked, Roger, is because obviously you've competed at that level, so
Yeah.
you're giving your perspective. Now let's focus on Africa. Now, Ghanaian amateur boxer Samuel Taki, right? He's won his Olympic quarterfinal to guarantee himself a medal at Tokyo. The first
Yeah.
Olympic medal for a Ghanaian athlete in 29 years. Wow, this is amazing. Um, Early on, we just seen Tatiana Schoenmaker be the first South African female since Penny Haynes, 1996. I mean, for me, growing up, Penny Haynes was like, she was a celebrity, like, I mean, she was the
Makes
fastest. I
both
mean,
of
they
us.
say the fastest of the long, you know what I'm saying? We all
Yeah.
knew Penny Haynes. I mean, and I mean,
Yes.
when I saw the stat this afternoon, I was like taken away. And then obviously you've got your South Africa's Akani Simbani, who came out fourth. American Fred Curley took the silver. Italian sprinter Lamont Marcel Jacobs, he won the 100-meter dash, taking over from Usain Bolt as the world's fastest man. I mean,
Yeah.
there's been changes happening. What happened? Bolt got bolted. I don't know. Safe to say. And then we got
Marcel was unexpected.
yeah. I mean, I don't think anybody saw that coming. But let's talk
Yeah.
about
Jeez.
the men's 100-meter sprint with Lamont Marcel Jacobs winning and dashing, taking over from Usain Bolt now as the world's fastest. I mean, they're setting a bar, they're setting a pace. How much more faster can a human being actually? I mean, we're like exceeding what we can possibly, or what?
Yeah. I mean, look. There was an article also posted that the Tokyo Olympics, the synthetic track they're using, the Mondo, was also specially designed, and while using a lot of records, the guys were chatting about with having an advantage of 1 to 2% of performance
Okay.
because of that surface. Secondly, I don't know if you saw the new spikes technology they have with the sprinters, where they have the front raise and gives them extra energy. So there's a
Yes.
lot of chats like that. But with going to the 100-meter sprints, I mean, the standout favorite was Tromiel from America, and obviously Ronnie Baker. Those were the guys they were looking at. They were looking at the grass, and obviously Simbini
Yeah,
was
Fred
the world.
Curley.
Yeah, Fred
Yeah.
Kelly, remember, he came from the 400 the year before to the sprint, so
Uh-huh.
he wasn't really expected much. I mean, Akane Simbini was ranked the second world fastest time this year before going into the championships. Number one was Stromiel. And that's the thing, that's the beauty about championships and Olympics. Anything can happen, the underdog. Marcel had a good year, though. He went to European indoors this year. He won the 60-meter European indoors, so he had a good fast start. He was building up. And I mean, he went in to the Olympics with a 9.94 ran previously, and yeah, it's basically whoever keeps, like you said, the mental game, whoever keeps on the day, who's the hungriest, because everybody's the same. I mean, the semi-final before that was crazy with the Chinese Su that ran 9.83. I think it was the new Asian record, followed by Ronnie Baker with 9.84. So you'd expect, okay, this is the guys where they have to come out. I mean, Akane was third in that heat with a 9.9. So you would expect that. And Marcel Jacobs on the day, if you look at the race, when he came out, I mean, Akane was ahead of him also. I feel for Akane because I think this is now his second time that he's now fourth at a championship like this. I mean, at World
Now,
Champs, also on two occasions, he's been fourth. He's there. He's in fantastic shape. I mean, he ran this year 9.84. And unfortunately, a bit of execution and doesn't go his way. And there we got again. And fourth is the worst place to be. Like you were saying
now,
about African champs with me,
yes.
coming the ones before the bronze, I've came fourth on 3 occasions, and it sucks having the wooden spoon.
Now, I mean, as it currently stands, right? Team South Africa have just 3 medals: a gold, a silver, thanks to a gold and a silver, thanks to
Yes,
Tatiana Schoenmaker
yes,
and her
and
exploits in the swimming pool, and a silver medal now by retired surfer Bianca Buitendag, right? Now, there were genuine hopes that the SA men's 4x100-meter athletics relay squad would add to the medal haul. What went wrong here for Akane Simbani? I mean, the men's quartet of Clarence Munyai, Sean Maswangani, Cedric van Wyk, Akane Simbani, and I mean, you look at their body. You look at, I mean, Akane's fitness. You're looking at his weight at 74 kilograms, the height, the personal best times, as you mentioned. I mean, coming in, he was, if not the fastest, the second fastest coming into this
yes.
heat. What went wrong for the SA team? I mean, did they, chances go up in smoke? What happened here?
So my perspective is, look, the SA 4x1 team were definitely on good point. I mean, this is remember they went to the World Relays this year, they won it. outstandingly. I can tell you for a fact that Akane Simbi and the crew, they were charged up for this. They were ready for it. But it's a very technical event. Like they say, number one priority with relay, you got to get the baton around. It doesn't matter. You can have the 4 fastest guys in the world there. If that baton doesn't move around smoothly, you can forget about it. And I think with their controversy, what happened, remember Gift, that was also in the semi-final. So when they were in Gemona training, Gift was the one that obviously started. They had a different sequel. Gift started, and I would assume it was really Sean, followed by Clarence, and then Akane. And now remember, Gift got injured at the semi-finals at the end of the race. He pulled the hamstring. So they had to change the relay order in a different position, where now Clarence had to start. He was going to give to Sean. Then they had to bring in Chadwick, followed by Akane. And obviously, these guys only had one day to prepare. Yes. So they only had one day to prepare for that routine, because now it was unexpected with injuries, and obviously the guys were different routines. So I think, look, what happened, Clarence went, so they ran actually into each other. I think it was just a bit of a mistiming. I think Sean came maybe a bit out too slow, and then Clarence obviously, and then the changeover didn't happen, and the baton fall. So it's a minor technical error. I think the guys were in good standing to get a medal, one of the favorites as the world champs this year in the relay. And I mean, these things happen. It's a technicality, execution on the day.
No.
I think that we repeat. And I mean, it's sad. It happens in a split of 2 seconds.
It's sad to say this from my side, sitting in a studio and you where you are, but obviously thoughts as an athlete, right? Looking at Wade van Niekerk, and we're talking 400 meters, right? I mean, people were saying it was just as well that there was no spectators there to see him crash out in a painful experience. I mean, he lit up in 2016, the Rio Games, so the 43-second world record and a gold performance, right? And it was a shadow of the athlete who was tipped to take over as Usain Bolt's mantle as the king of the track once upon a time. I mean, 4 or 5 years on now, we're seeing what's happening to South Africa, but they came in with so much of the chaos, so much of, money on the cards to say, okay, look, so definitely Team SA are going to take medals in the sprints, in the 400s. And then we see now they're pointing out a knee injury, which he suffered in 2017, but we're in 2021 now. I mean, do you think the devastating kick that he delivered in 2016 was a bit too much? And as you said, similar to Simone, is there maybe a sideline hindrance in this whole thing here? What happened here?
I think with Wade's situation.
Why I'm saying this, because the cynics will ask, where does Wade go to now? From here.
Look, we have to look at it also from the background. What the athlete has been going through over the years. Remember, he picked up a big injury when he did a charity event with the Symmonds. And then remember, had the surgery, came out. And remember, with surgery, it's not always that it goes as planned. And obviously, had some setbacks in between, which took him, almost 2 years, 3 years, without running any competition and competing. So now, obviously, last year, then it was COVID. So it wasn't even full competition. So it was circumstances also. He pushed and obviously trained. And remember also, he recently moved and changed coaches because obviously he is hungry for it. He wants to work for that. I mean, he changed quickly before the Olympics to try and feature. And obviously, it's still small needle. So I think his body just needs to get used to competing again and stuff. And I think he'll be back with a vengeance and stuff. We shouldn't count him out. I mean, he was out almost 3 years, 4 years out on the sidelines. And remember, we only see them, like we were saying earlier on the whole mental game. We only see what we see on TV and what the guy's running. We don't see how did the guy wake up the morning? What was the situation? Hear bad news. Remember, we all are pandemic fatigued, and there's a lot of other situations also, because you got to look at deeper in. You can't just look at from the front perspective. He's not performing. Look, he's a world-class athlete. And I can guarantee you he's going to go back to the drawing board and train. And I mean, he joined a new group. And I think he was just one of the unlucky guys that he had a lot of setbacks that kept on hitting him one by one. But I think he's in a good space now and he's going to work forward towards it. So it doesn't work. I think generally for us, Team South Africa, remember 2008 when Mokoena was the only one that medaled? It wasn't a good Olympics. But what happened after that? 2012. What happened 2016? We started getting medals. We're going. So you get a bit of an off year where we have to reset and build up. So I think it's one of those years
Similarly, the
where
Americans had their fair share in the 2000s and obviously Sydney, etc. Yeah, and then obviously come 2010, the game changed. Now,
yeah.
Roger, your thoughts on Beatrice Masilingi, obviously, for the women's 200-meter final, and also on
Christine.
Christine. Yeah, what are your thoughts on that?
Look, I know them from young. I'm originally from Namibia, so
Yes,
I've
yes,
seen
yes.
them run around and stuff. So, look, very talented young athletes. Coach Hank picked them up in the north. They're from the village and so on, and gave them opportunity and stuff. Look, I know a lot of people are complaining and saying, yeah, they have a what is it, DSN or DSS. And I mean, by the end of the
Yes.
day, they were born like that and so forth. So it's not much that you can do and so forth. And I mean, look, they were withdrawn from the event of the 400 and then they excelled in the 200. I mean, their best event is 400. I can tell you now, Christine, I know last year and the year before, she used to run 800s. She's actually 800, 400, and then they just decided to do 400.
Now, you
Masilingi is
mentioned
a
that
400-meter athlete. And
similar to Kester Semenya in SA, but I mean, the age at 18 years old, she's unratified as an African senior and world under 20 record in the 400s,
yeah, and you
It's
see, and the
it's
thing is, they were
massive.
within the rules also. Like
Yeah.
IAAF said to them, okay, you can't do the 400 due to what we have the rules implemented, but you're more welcome to go to a 200. And now they excelled. And I mean, that was last minute calls because remember, they were all preparing for 400, not 200. And I think for that age to run at that such a big stage and to perform that well, it's phenomenal. It's phenomenal, especially the circumstances and everything that's hovering over your head and what people are saying. I mean, I don't want to even know half the stuff they're going through on their social media platforms and stuff. Besides
Well,
the good shares, but you're going to have that one or two occasionally
yeah,
bad
there will
comments,
be
and it
the
can set
haters
you
are gonna
back.
hate. Haters
Yeah,
are gonna hate. You're gonna get your sideline comments, your cynics, as I was saying and asking about what happened with Wade van Niekerk, because the cynics will ask where to now. But Roger, in conclusion, and before I let you go,
one thing I just want to add you before you conclude. One thing.
short, go
End of
ahead.
the day, I just want to say
Mm,
to the people out there, athletes, us as athletes in general, we're all human, just as
yes.
everybody else. So we do have our setbacks. You do have, I mean,
Simone
you
said
do
the
have
exact
your
same
stumble
thing.
blocks. So we've been glorified as this goddess, or we don't have kryptonite. We do. We as any ordinary person, we do have setbacks. We just put in the work, and everybody does make mistakes. Some people don't execute, but the most important thing is how we get back from this and what we built and where
You
we're
know,
going forward.
You mentioned kryptonite, and in my next segment, I'm going to be talking about DC Comics and kryptonite. But anyway, that's for another
Lines you up.
topic. um, Before I let you go, Roger, your general thoughts and overview of the tournament and of the Olympic Games currently right now, how it started off, where we are right now, and towards the end. What's your general thoughts on the Olympics 2020?
I think it needed to happen because we needed some upliftment. We needed some major tournament for the sport, generally a sport going out. We needed something big global because everything was put on a pause. There was so much doubts into it. People were saying it's not going to happen, the protest. And I must say, the hosts, the organizing committee guys done a phenomenal job in hosting and having this at a safe with all the precautions in. And I want to give it big ups to all the participants that were there to come with the A games, breaking records. And I mean, we're not speaking that much about the pandemic so much. It was a nice sidetrack distraction where everybody's
Yes,
like all feeling and all hungry. Now we want to do it
yeah.
next year and we're ready for it and ready
Enough
for
of
open up.
COVID in the headlines. Like, give us
Yes,
some
and
sort of, show us some color, bronze, gold, silver,
yes, and I think it
Yeah,
just gave us some light at the tunnel now, to just get away.
yeah,
And I think it's been phenomenal what the guys pulled off. I
yeah.
mean, yes, we are sad with some of our favorites haven't made it, but I'm sure the stars are going to come back. They're going to go back, put in the work, and no rectify. And today is maybe not my day, but tomorrow and the day after might be. So yeah, it's
Oh,
what
well,
like what
from
we
an
do.
athlete yourself, your message going out to those who are seeing it around the globe. Roger Haitengi, thank you so much for your time. I mean, big up to you. And well done to obviously the Namibians, to the fellow South Africans, to all the athletes from around the globe at the Olympics. Roger, I thank you for your time tonight. And until we have a chat again, keep well, my man.
Thank you. It's a
honor.
pleasure and have a good night. Likewise.
You too, my man. Cheers. That's Roger Haitengi, 2014 African champion, who won bronze at the African Championships in 2014. We've been doing an analysis and a discussion on the Olympics 2020, etc. Talking about what happened wrong with the Kani Simbani and the 100 meters, what happened with Wade van Niekerk. What are your thoughts? Send through your comments on 0617660355. We're taking an ad break. When we come back, inshallah, but later on, we're going to be having the Tech Talk segment. Now, as I mentioned, we're talking about a business called Project Mayhem South Africa. And I'm going to be speaking to Riza Adam. Now, we're talking all about figurines, what goes into these types of things, figurines, and a whole lot of different things. And I've seen some where they're going into the pricing of up to close to 80,000 rands for a collectible figurine, an action figure. Yes, you heard me right, up to 80K. So I really want to have a serious chat about why the pricing is so expensive, and also looking at some of the detail on these figurines. It's amazing. If you love Comic-Con, if you're a fan of this kind of thing, you don't want to miss it. Stay tuned. This is Salam Media. I'm ST Safaras Takulia, and I'll be with you for the next hour. Stay